be a place. They all stick out in their own way because every country's got its own unique personalities. It's like here in the United States, every state has its own personality, as I'm sure you know. You've grown up in different states and you know the difference between them. And it's no different with countries. They've all got their personalities, but Bhutan was definitely a fabulous place to visit.
Absolutely. I'm an amateur at traveling, but I enjoy traveling. I've been to many of the states. I was born in Louisiana, born and raised there, and then now I'm in Mississippi. And for a while, I traveled and lived in Tennessee. That was a beautiful place, the Smoky Mountains, and
yes.
North Carolina.
But they've all got their own personalities, don't they? I mean, Louisiana and Tennessee and Mississippi, relatively close proximity, but they all got their own totally different characters. Their ways of life. Louisiana's a very different way of life.
Definitely. Louisiana is very laid back. It has that Cajun culture and very jazz and blues music oriented, and it's an interesting place. It's now starting to be a place for where the music industry is at and the acting industry. You know, they film a lot of stuff in New Orleans, Louisiana, with the jazz clubs and all that. You know, it's very interesting.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, the French Quarter.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Have you traveled to Louisiana?
No, I haven't. I haven't been across the southern states. That's still on my bucket list tray. I've been to a lot of the northeastern states, you know, the New England states and around there, and been to most of the western states. I still need to do that trip across the southern states, you know, through Tennessee and Oklahoma. I have been to Oklahoma, but that's about it in that part of the world. I do need to go and try and get to Tennessee and Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, all those beautiful southern states with all that gracious way of living.
Absolutely. And you learn something different each place you travel. You know, there's different cultures, and you take a part of that with you, you know.
No question about it. Yes, you take part of it with you, and hopefully you leave something behind as well.
Absolutely. My next question to you is, what is your advice to people who want to be a writer, who want to get into the writing industry? What is your advice?
Well, I think stick with it. You know, if it's a dream of yours to write, I always say that people should try and pursue their dreams and not be put off. Just go ahead, put it down on paper, make it happen. It's very much easier now, I think, than it was, 25 years ago, for example, when we didn't have computers. You had to go to a publisher and have them publish it and get it printed and all that stuff. I mean, now people can just write it into a computer themselves, put it into a Word document, and they can go and get it self-published. There's two ways to go, of course, traditional publishing and self-publishing. They're two totally different ways of going. One is you've got to put the money out front in self-publishing, but that's the way I went because it happened. It just worked that way for me. But I think essentially they should just do their research first, find out whether they want to go traditional publishing or self-publishing. But no matter what, pursue your dream and make it happen. And so what if it doesn't make the New York Times bestseller? It's not the end of the world. You've accomplished something, you've achieved something. And if you give joy to somebody else through your writing, as I said earlier, it's icing on the cake. You're giving something back.
Definitely. Definitely pursue your dream, learn the craft. You have to have a passion for it. You have to stick with it. And when it comes to publishing, you have to have a thick skin because rejection in publishing, some publishers will reject it. You have to go to another, and.
Yes, they're all very valid points, and don't be put off. Just don't be put off. But I do think that everyone who is going to have something published too, one of the critical things is it is very important to have it professionally edited. Don't, my mother's an English teacher, she'll edit it, or things like that. An English teacher is not an editor any more than an editor isn't an English teacher. That's very important to get somebody who is professional, who's created it, to edit it. They will spot things that you as a writer just won't spot. That's what they're paid for. That's their job. And if you want to make it a good book, definitely go for a professional editor to catch the mistakes.
Definitely. And it's important to, in the publisher and the editors, they review it as well, but it's important to review your own work as well. Make sure there's no mistakes in the spelling or the capitalization or the abbreviations, etc., etc. You have to, there's no such thing as perfect, but you have to get it close as you can, make it look professional and neat,
Absolutely. I don't think there's anything that's out there that's the actual perfect book where there's not one type of one shape or form, but at least try and keep it to a minimal so people aren't having to keep going back and rereading lines because they're missing the grammar or the question marks or the commas and things of that nature.
Absolutely. And you gotta love writing. You gotta love it. You gotta stick with it. If I've learned with many careers, if you have to ask yourself, should I be a writer? Should I be an actor? Or etc. Then the question is, the answer is don't. If you even have to ask that question, you know the answer.
Yes, that's a valid point. Some advice there that people should heed, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, Stephen, thank you very much for letting me talk to you and interviewing you. It's been a pleasure, and I wish you very much success with your continued writing, and thank you very much.
Oh, Trey, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've thoroughly enjoyed our conversation, and I do thank your listeners for tuning in. I hope they enjoy it as much as I did.
Absolutely, and I'll send you a link to the interview once it's published. It will be uploaded next week sometime.
Sounds good, Trey. I'll look forward to it, and I do wish you much success in all your endeavors too. Sounds like you've got a very creative mind there, so keep plugging away with it.
Thank you very much. You have a good day.
You do the same. Stay safe now.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that was writer Mr. Stephen Murray. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Join us tomorrow when I interview actor and acting teacher Mr. Eric Morris. Thank you very much, and God bless.